This is going to be the most in-depth high-level tutorial you've ever seen on YouTube. My name is Jarid Orgeron. I've been using HighLevel nearly every day since 2023. And today we're going to go through the entire platform from initial sign-up all the way to setting up your first customer. Let's dive in. All right, now when you first jump over to HighLevel's homepage, you're going to see that there's basically two options to sign up here with a 14-day trial. One is a $97 a month option, and one is a $297 a month option. The only major difference between these is with the $97 plan, you can have up to 3 accounts, 3 customers, if you will. They call them subaccounts. And on the $297 plan, you can have unlimited customers, unlimited subaccounts. There is also a $497 plan, and that's actually here. Now, the only way you can have access to this is if you're an affiliate or you use an affiliate link. So there's a link for this down in the description if you want to actually sign up for 14 days for the $497 plan. I actually recommend starting with this plan if you want to try it out, because you can play with all the features for the SaaS mode, and you can just downgrade to the $97 plan before your 14 days is up. You don't have to pay anything extra. So I would go that route, but this is what the additional stuff you get in the $497 plan. Again, this link is below. So we're actually going to sign up with the $497 plan for this demo, and we're going to go from there. But before we do that, real quick, I want to show you, there's also 2 more links down below. One of them is for a 30-day free trial on the $97 plan with the Bootcamp, which is a daily live training and onboarding that you get. And there's also a link for a 5-day live training where we go through all this stuff to go from 0 to your first customers. And that is all live. These links are down in the description. So all the stuff is free. If you do sign up for the 14-day trial on the SaaS plan first, you can still jump into these because you're already an established high-level customer. All right. So we're actually going to go ahead and sign up for the SaaS Pro account for the 14-day trial. And I'm going to show you a little trick that you can actually extend this once you get in there. So check this out. So we'll go through this 2-step order form here. If you don't have a company yet, you can just make something up for now. All right. And once you're through the 2-step order form, this will be your screen that you see here. And go ahead and click Get Started. All right. Next screen here, we're going to go ahead and make a password. Okay. And verify our phone number. Put in your billing address for yourself or your business. Either one is fine here. So when we come here, how do you plan to use HighLevel? We can go ahead and click SaaSpreneur for white labeling, reselling. But if you're a marketing agency, then you're going to provide service to your clients. You can go ahead and choose that. Or if you were going to run this for your own business, you could choose that. Or you could choose other. This doesn't change anything when you log in. It just is for HighLevel's internal records. So you can just choose that. Most of this stuff is going to be for that. So say we're marketing agency. So I don't have any customers yet. That's fine. Say we're using Wix. And you could skip some of that stuff too. Now, this is very important. Absolutely take your onboarding call. They're going to walk through stuff with you. It's very important. So these videos are great, but nothing beats having a live person on the call with you. So you want to go ahead and do that for sure. But for now, we're going to click Not Now, Take Me to My Account. Okay. So this is your agency dashboard. Here's where you're going to see all of your configuration options at the agency level. So basically, you've got 2 main levels that you're going to view stuff in HighLevel. You have the agency level. That's your own agency. And then you have all the sub-accounts, including one sub-account that's going to be dedicated for your agency. So the sub-account is where the business operations for each business happen in a compartmentalized fashion. And the layer above that manages all of it, the umbrella level, if you will, is the agency level. So that's where we're at now. Real quick, I promised you that I would show you where you can extend your trial. So when you come in here, you come down in the left-hand corner to settings and you go to billing. If you hit modify cancel, you'll see this trial extension. You can apply for a trial extension after 6 days. So you can actually get more than the 14-day trial on the $497 plan if after 6 days you come in here and you click this. All right. You could also downgrade if you don't have any customers yet. Say you go through the 5-day challenge, you're not able to land your first client to cover your bill, which is fine, but you typically would be able to. You can come in here and downgrade to the $97 plan. But if you stay on the $497, it's great because then you can start rebilling and just really hit the ground running. So that's that. Just want to let you know that's there. A lot of people don't realize that's there. Okay. So let's go back. So now at the very top here, remember I talked about agency level, all your sub-account levels. You get to your sub-accounts by clicking up here to switch. Here's you're going to switch to your sub-accounts. Now, it created one sub-account already for me under my company. Remember I said one of them is going to be dedicated for your own agency. On the $97 plan, you only have 3 sub-accounts max. One of them you're going to have to use for your own business so that you can have 2 clients on the $97 plan, which is fine too. You could get 2 clients. You just won't be able to rebuild them automatically, but they can still sign up and you can build them manually. We'll get through that. But that's just so you can see how that works. So let's go down to agency dashboard. The first thing you want to do is connect to Stripe so you can actually get paid. It's important. If you don't have a Stripe account, you can set one up for free. Let's do create a new account. I haven't done this in a while, so I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to have to do to set up another one. Create new business. Just going to do this under personal. So you can go ahead and put all your personal information in there. That's no problem. You don't need an LLC registered officially to set this up. So we could say we're in lead generation. You don't have to have a website. Make something up here. I help insurance agents get new leads from Facebook ads. And here you can connect your bank. Once you connect your bank, the next screen you're going to get is a statement descriptor. Here's where you put in the description of what shows on their bill when they get billed and you get paid. You can put in your agency name here. I just have my personal name when I set this up, so that's fine. Put phone number in there, climate commitment, no thanks. You want to choose digital goods? We can opt in now, which I would recommend doing, or you could do now right now. We'll just opt in for sales tax. Apparently I do need to put a website in here. If you don't have a website yet, that's fine. You can actually create one in your HighLevel account and link that here. Now, once you finish connecting Stripe, you'll see your Stripe integration here. You'll see that payouts are enabled. So now you can get paid. This is good. We like to get paid. All right, that's step one. I'll minimize this. So in your agency dashboard here, you're going to have summaries of revenue each month. You've probably seen people on YouTube touting this screen with their SaaS subscriptions. If you come over to rebilling, you're going to see all the different types of things that you can rebill and what those rates were. And we're going to get into configuring that right under here in just a second. So you have phone, email, WhatsApp, AI products, premium triggers, other, all right? And here's where your profits would be. So these are all the different options that you can set up in here, the SaaS configurator. This is why I wanted you to check out the $497 plan, because you do not have access to this on the $297 plan, and the $297 plan is the highest that's available on HighLevel's website. You cannot get the $497 plan from their homepage. So basically there's 3 different SaaS modes that are set up here so you can demo: standard, professional, premium, and basically there's more and more features as you come in here. Just go through the top real quick. Advanced settings for each one of these controls how Subaccount admins can change their subscription. So this suspends Subaccount when SaaS subscription fails. Basically, if they don't make their payment, this will automatically suspend their account. So they won't be able to log in and do anything. This is the Subaccount level. Second option, allow Subaccount admins to upgrade their subscription. What this is, the subscriptions that you have created here. So you can create a number of different subscriptions here. This will allow Subaccount admins to upgrade internally on their own. This is not your subscription to HighLevel, the $297, $97, $497. That's not this, because you're at the agency level. This is at the Subaccount level. So right now, if somebody was signed up under you to the SaaS plan and they were signed up on your standard plan monthly, they could upgrade to one of these 2 on their own. That's what this enables for the admins of those subaccounts to do that. And this allows subaccount admins to cancel subscriptions as well. Here's where you can customize your welcome email, right? So basically this is your email template builder. This is going to be the same subaccount or anything. It's going to be a very familiar interface here. It's drag and drop. You can come in and change this stuff, put your company logo in here, whatever you want. That's going to be the main email that goes out. So it's, we're thrilled that you joined the platform. Your account is ready. Activate your account by clicking the button below. So it'll automatically generate username, password, things like that for those people. That's part of what the SaaS plan is. On the $297 plan, you'd have to do that stuff manually. All right, you can add categories for the plans here. Right now, all 3 of these plans are under the default category, but you can add more categories if you want to offer different items. So this one's very important. Security settings, set rules to prevent scammers from creating and using SaaS subaccounts. So say you have a free trial. Scammers will a lot of times log in, sign up with fake credit cards, send out blasts of text messages or emails using all your free trial credits, and they can really blow up your account. Sometimes you get hit with some really serious fees on top of that. So this pause new subaccounts. This restricts new clients from using their account until reviewed. This will put new accounts on hold until they're reviewed by you. They can create an account, but can't be accessed by subaccount admins. And 2-factor authentication. This will verify their phone numbers on the 2-step sign-up form on your SaaS landing page. And here's where you would see your pending subaccount requests when they come in, right? So now we have SaaS mode now works with Stripe, NMI, and authorized.net and Square. So this is great. Stripe, some people have had trouble with Stripe, especially in other countries. So you can get started in here to configure other payment options, but we're going to stick with Stripe for now. All right. So let's go ahead and create a new plan. Here again, you can see your categories. So let's say, we're just going to say Pro Plan Test 1. This will be the all-in plan. All right, choose our category. Here it is. We had these 3. We're adding this one in. Now, pricing details, whatever you want it to be, monthly or annual. Now, this doesn't have to be simply access to HighLevel platform. You could have a SaaS offer like an AI agent or some other automation or some other tool that you've built on the platform that you create a custom landing page for, and they sign up using one of these links, and they'll get a sub account, and they'll also get whatever you have built out for them, because you can set snapshots to pump out automatically into the accounts when they're created. Here you can set the user limit, maximum users allowed in the sub account, and the maximum contacts created. We're going to go unlimited, but you could limit this. Sometimes people charge more for more contacts. It's a different way to upsell. And here's all the features you can turn on or off. This proposals and estimates is really good for local service business. Communities would be for course creators. GoCollab is essentially a school. You have certificates if people do complete the courses, QR codes, quizzes, things like that. And this is all some of these options have to stay on here. Like you can't unselect these. So these are permanently on, right? So you have multiple options here. Now you can attach a snapshot to this account. So if you do create things that you want to automatically have loaded into their account when they sign up, like whatever your offer might be, here's where you would attach it. Now, I don't have any snapshots made right now because it's a brand new account, but this is where that would be. And you also have custom menu links. So if you have some other type of navigation, like a GPT agent that you created or some other thing somewhere else online, it'll create an iframe inside their sub account so that they can have access to that. And this would be a custom menu link is where you can add that in here. So that would all get dumped into their account when they sign up. Here you have add-ons. You have AI Employee, Ad Manager. This is going to be if you're running Facebook ads or Google ads. Listings is for local SEO, WhatsApp, obviously. Client Portal app. So if you're running a coaching program or whatnot, and they want to log in with their phone to the client portal, you can do that. If you want to host WordPress, that's here. And AI Employee is like HighLevel's branded ecosystem of AI products. Let's throw it all in there. All right, so here's where you can activate a trial period, go up to 30 days with a trial if you'd like. You can give them some credits. This is where you can really get hosed with scammers, because if you do add any type of credits in here, say you give them $25 worth of like minutes they could use for Twilio or whatever else, if a scammer signs up and blows these away, they might sign up with like multiple fake credit cards and just charge you out the wazoo. So you really want to have the two-factor stuff set up for that. All right, so here's your rebilling. Basically, this is your markup margin on phone stuff. So making calls, receiving calls, text messages, you can take this all the way up to an ungodly amount, 10 times. And over here on the left is all the other rebillable items. See, email, premium triggers and actions. This is going to be like inside workflows, email verification, content AI. That's when you're generating images or text inside the platform using AI, workflow AI, conversation voice AI. These are all the different types of reviews AI, reputation management, purchasing domains, all the stuff. If they build funnels with AI, all the stuff, a lot of features in the program that they can use, you can upcharge all of them. And again, this is only available in the SaaS configurator. If you have the $297 plan, none of this stuff is available to you. It will just pass on the $297 plans, will just pass straight through the pricing. You can't mark it up. So if you have a lot of clients, marking this up a little bit can get you definitely more money every month. All right, so we can go through this. You get the idea. All right, so now we created a new SaaS plan. We loaded it up with all the features. Now there's different ways you could go about doing this. You might say it's going to be a low monthly rate, but we're going to charge a lot on the rebilling. So look, you don't have to pay a lot every month, but whatever you use, you're going to pay more for. Or you might bring the monthly rate up and then have no rebilling or just a direct pass through and say, hey, you only pay for what you use, but you're going to pay a base of $497 or whatever, right? You can check out these ones that are already in here. Now you have a direct Stripe link to your new plan. You can paste that in, check it out. All right, so here it is, right? We set that 30-day free trial, $197 a month. That's the plan we made. Now somebody could come here and they could start a free trial and have access to your SaaS. And they'll get that email sent to them. They'll get their login information automatically sent to them and everything. So that is the SaaS configurator. Let's drop down to prospecting. Now, this is a very awesome tool that you can use to find businesses that need your services. So say how to prospect. Let's say we want to find plumbers in the New York City area. The software will automatically give you a score on whether or not you'll have a good chance of converting this person based on what it's finding regarding their website and what they have set up in comparison to what HighLevel can offer. So here's one that came up here, very high, this Precision Plumbing, right? So let's see what these guys are all about. So they're in Dallas, Texas. Interesting. So we're going to run an audit report. And this is basically what you would then go to the business and present and say, hey, I see you have potential for whether it's SEO or chat widget integration or whatever. All right. So that report is done and this business is doing terribly, right? So there's a lot of potential here. They have no chat widget, not hosted on WordPress. They do have a text-enabled business number. Probably means they are using a CRM of some sort, but their local SEO is terrible. They're really not showing up on any of the listings. If they had just a little bit of help from somebody on reputation management stuff from HighLevel and reviews, this is not good. If you look at they're not showing up anywhere on local SEO on maps. So maybe right in their backyard, but as soon as you go out here a little bit, nobody's finding them. So this business is probably not getting a lot of calls. This would be a massive opportunity to just reach out to them and say, hey, here I have this audit report, and you could definitely help them. Up here on the upper right, you can export a PDF. You could save that, open this guy. Now this is something you can just then email the business owner, a very nice report here, or you could go over with a Zoom call, just say, hey, these are the areas where you could help. So the idea here is that all the stuff that HighLevel offers feature-wise, we're going to compare that to what the business has going on. And so in just a few minutes, you can really find out who's going to be your most ideal prospects. You're not going to waste your time trying to sell something to somebody that's not going to help them. All right. So that's a prospecting tool. Now, if that person decides, hey, they're going to come on board, you can click right here and convert them directly to a sub account, and then you'll be good to go. You can look at analytics for your prospecting. I'm not going to upgrade right now for the widgets. And you can turn on or off sections for your report. So if you're only going to be doing, say you're only offering local SEO, then you would turn off other things that aren't going to be relevant to your pitch. Or if you were offering free website services or whatever it is, you can turn on and off stuff but right now everything's turned on. But that you can customize the report here is mainly what that's all about. All right, so that's prospecting. Now here's where you're going to see all your sub accounts. We only have the one that was made automatically when I started the trial here. You will have this option with any of the plans. So without the SaaS configurator, people can't automatically sign up and have sub accounts created automatically and have snapshots loaded automatically and all that stuff. So you would have to then come in here when you do land a new client. If you're just doing a regular sales call on the 297 plan, you can just come in here and get them signed up. Here's where you can choose all your snapshots for tons of different industries, and they'll be ready to go. There's 64 snapshots in here. Here's also where you can see the snapshots that you've saved or created, and any snapshots that you've imported from anybody else, or any that you've purchased are all going to be in here. Right. So if they're a SaaS account, you would choose this, or a regular account, depending on what type you want to create. All right. So there's two ways you can create a sub account. Basically, you can create a manual one from here, or in the prospecting tool where we had this guy, you could create sub account here. Right. So we can call this, I'm just going to put in my info because I don't feel like making stuff up. Just call this Precision Plumbing. This would be the business owner's information, wherever the account admin would be for the sub account. So we're just going to make one up. Jack at precisionplumbing.com. All right. It was already brought in their information from that. All right. So now if we come over here to sub accounts, back where we were, we're going to have the two, right? Now, here's the other way we can create a sub. We can create one directly from the snapshots. If we do that, it's going to bring us back to the maps section. So where we would have to manually choose a business on here. Let's just choose a plumber. Jared's Finest Plumbing. Same thing. I don't know his last name, so I'm just going to make it up. Again, this is assuming this is Jared at Finest Plumbing. I'm just making this stuff up, but this would be the business owner's information. Business phone. Oh, all right. Put the right time zone in here. Okay. So now we've created two sub accounts, two different ways. One way we did it from the sub account screen, and the other way we did it directly from the prospecting tool. And here they both are. Now, we still need to come in here and configure these guys. So we have the option to switch to SaaS. If there's no payment information on file for the client, then they're going to have to go ahead and log in and use a shared link to, or however you want to send it, for them to put payment information on file. If they set their account up automatically through the SaaS configurator, then it'll already be a SaaS account. But there needs to be payment information on file for the client in order for that to be valid for them. All right, so we come in here. Here's where you can manage the details for your client. So this is from a hierarchy standpoint, this is as high as you can go for the client accounts in your sub account or in your agency account at the sub account section and go to manage client. So this is the top of the pyramid for them. They have no connection to your HighLevel agency in any way above this point. So this is going to be the business owner's details, general information about the business, their social profiles, anything you want to put in here. SaaS mode is not enabled right now for this business, but if it was, you'd be able to see all the settings and subscriptions for them, any limits that were imposed. Now rebilling, this is going to be a lot of what we saw in the SaaS configurator, right? And here's all the things that you can resell. Tons of stuff in here. This is constantly changing, so I'm not going to go through all this because this could be different tomorrow, but there's a ton of stuff in here. Marketplace apps, again, constantly changing. There's tons of stuff in here. You don't need any of this in order to use all the HighLevel features, but this is a marketplace where some people do sell customized stuff that could be useful in edge case scenarios. But for the most part, HighLevel has all the major stuff covered. And here's any limits that are in here. So this is where you would manage all the highest level items for your sub accounts right in here. And you can hit this button to jump over to their sub account, or you can you'll see there's additional ones, the two I just made. You can jump over here. So both of these will go to the same place. Now let's talk snapshots. Say you want to dump a snapshot in here to manage client. You go up to actions. There's a couple items here. So load snapshot is going to give you all the default ones that you get from HighLevel and any additional ones that you have already saved or downloaded. They're all going to be in here, right? So if this is a business coaching, proceed. Now, this is very important because you can really mess up somebody's sub account. You don't pay attention to this. This is going to take a whole bunch of stuff that's already canned in the snapshot. And if it's a brand new account, it's fine. But if it's an existing account, you can blow away all their stuff. It's happened to me when I was underneath someone else's agency. They didn't know what they were doing. So you can choose here whether or not you're going to overwrite stuff or if you're going to skip it. So right now we're going to just say, let's do it all. And it's going to see if there's any conflicts, right? So it says here, no conflicts detected. So we're good. It's a brand new account. But there could be stuff that was found and it would show up here and you could skip those things and not overwrite them. Workflows, things like that. So we'll proceed. Right. So now it's dumping all the stuff that came with that snapshot for plumbers or whatever into that account or whatever one I chose. All right. Now you can delete their account here. Hopefully you don't want to do that. You can manually pause it. So if you're not on the SaaS plan and you're on the 297 plan and they don't pay and you can see that in your Stripe account, you can come in here and pause it, or you could transfer to sub account. Right now, here's where someone says, oh, I don't want to be under your agency anymore. I want to be my own agency. That's okay. You can eject them as a new account and still get your 40% recurring commission on their account subscription. So if they are under you as a sub account and they want to go out and be their own agency account, you can eject them here and it's $97 a month, whatever they're paying, you're going to get 40% of that. Or you could transfer it to another agency, right? So if you're going to close down your agency or you have a partner that's running another agency, you could use this as part of your sales pitch. Say, hey, you're not under me. I'm not a key man risk. I've got a partner. They have access and we can transfer everything over if anything were to ever happen, right? Or if you were to sell your agency and you want to sell your clients to another high-level owner, you can do that right here. All right, so this is a pretty important spot. And that's it. So that's most of what those are. So here's your main place for all of your account snapshots. You can create a new snapshot here of any sub account. So say I built out a template sub account or I have a snapshot that I want to offer other people. I can choose it. I can say snapshot offer. Say I got some fancy workflows or whatever else I build in there. Now I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to take out everything from my sub account. I'm going to create a snapshot that then can be used to put into other sub accounts. So I'm choosing all the stuff I want to save out of it. And now if I refresh this, I should have a snapshot of that account that I just created that I can actually use to dump into more accounts. So all the gurus that you see on YouTube is everything, oh, here, get my snapshot. This is what they're doing. They're coming in here, they're creating a snapshot of a sub account, and they're basically going here to share. And you get a permanent link, one-time link, agency restricted link, sub account restricted link, and marketplace share link. So here's the various links that you can get for your sub account. I would definitely turn on asset protection. You can find out more information about that here. So people can't just rip all your stuff. And that's how you can get the link to share. That'll go out to people if you want to offer a snapshot with your free download. If you want to learn more about how to sell snapshots, you can go right there. HighLevel has everything you need to know on that. So if you've imported any snapshots or you've purchased any snapshots, they're going to show up here. If you shared any snapshots out, they're going to show up here. And here's all the HighLevel snapshot templates that you get when you sign up. Honestly, there's a ton here. There's so many verticals here. There's not a ton of value. And I think personally, is my personal opinion, I'm going to get hate for this, but I don't think there's a ton of value with all of these snapshots that these people offer. I think if you don't really understand HighLevel, it's not going to help you. You're going to have to learn it anyway. So you might as well just start with ones that you get for free. There's 62 of them and then go from there. All right. So that's the whole snapshot section. Again, all of this is at the agency level. We haven't even gone into a single sub account yet. All right. This is just all at the agency level. So reselling, this is many of the options that you could have for whether or not you want to resell these services at all at the agency level to any sub account and how much you want to mark them up, right? Now, HighLevel gets negotiated rates on all this stuff. So usually you're already at a margin to begin with, which is good. And then marketplace apps, again, you can name your price to resell this stuff. And this is what it will be available if your sub accounts go and they buy these things in any of your sub accounts, you're going to get override on whatever this stuff is. So here's some additional services you can get for yourself, right? If you want account setup, advanced account setup, $1,000. It's not cheap. Priority support for HighLevel's $300 a month. The white label mobile app, not cheap. They have two apps. There's a lead connector app, which is the gray label app. And then there's a formal HighLevel app. 99% of the time, unless you're like really die hard on your SaaS, you can use the lead connector app or just the HighLevel app, branded app. And you don't need this, but it's there for people that are really trying to push their brand. So this is Eliza. It's an AI part of the platform. I haven't used it. I don't particularly feel it's any more beneficial than the AI employee that's already in there. And then if you're serving an industry that does require HIPAA compliance, you can turn that on here for your account at a monthly or yearly rate. Okay, so your affiliate portal, if you get people to sign up for HighLevel underneath you with your affiliate link, this is going to be where all that stuff is. You need to put in payment information here for yourself. This is a whole different thing than the Stripe that you set up before. So you'd have to set up new payment details here. It will not just automatically work with your Stripe setup. So there's nothing in here because it's a brand new account, but you can go in here and watch this video and see that they've paid out almost $100 million in affiliates commissions. You can get a Tesla, all that fun stuff. All right. And here's a template library. Now, this is available in each sub account, but it's also available at the agency level where you can put templates in here and they'll be available for your sub accounts to use. So if you're serving a specific niche, a specific industry, you're building out like templatized websites for them to be able to use, or it's part of your offer, you can put them in here. So that way they have access to them in their template library when they go in on their own. But this is all stuff that HighLevel gives you. There's like hundreds in here. Yeah, that's like tons and tons of templates for funnels and websites, right? So you have funnels, websites. I mean, there's like bazillions of categories, stores, email, social planner, forms, surveys, ad manager, so many templates for stuff in here. It's crazy. So these are all ads if you're going to run Facebook ads, tons and tons. Pretty much you don't ever need to actually buy any creatives from anyone. HighLevel gives you so much stuff in here as part of your subscription that you can pretty much pick anything and run with it. Even if you have to make slight changes, you get so much dashboards, customized dashboards. It's nuts, right? So the template library is huge. Okay, coming back here. Oh, I missed something. All right, so partners. So here's where people that have become partners at HighLevel, they have directories. for them. So these are like HighLevel approved service providers. So if you're looking to hire somebody to do some work for you on the HighLevel side of things, these are folks that are vetted. And I would recommend going this route versus trying to find somebody on Upwork or Fiverr who probably is not going to deliver what you want. You can choose these categories right here. All right, HighLevel University. This is a wealth of knowledge. There's so many free courses in here. It is insane. There's hours and hours of content and free trainings. It is nuts. All right, so that's all the courses there. Let's jump back to SaaS education section. This is going to really go into what the SaaS mode is all about. There's a lot of details here and a bunch of more videos. It goes over what we talked about a minute ago with configuring the SaaS plans, connecting Stripe, configuring the SaaS, building the pricing page. So here's where you can go if any of that stuff was a little bit confusing to you and really see more step-by-step details of setting those sections up. And here's a little overview video. GHL swag, want to buy some stuff. It's there. This is the ideas board. So all the stuff they're working on constantly, there's like thousands of items here. And this is why it's tough to make these videos, because by the time you post it, it's already out of date. They're changing so many things. And this is all based on user feedback. So all the features that you get, it's because people are asking for this stuff. Here's a mobile app. All right. So here's how you can customize it, brand it. Basically, that's that. You can send a link for it. Here's again the app marketplace. Some of the stuff's free, but you can go through here. There's a lot here. I haven't personally used anything out of this, but I'm sure there's some big brands in here too. All right, let's jump into settings. So this is again going to be the same type of configuration you're going to have in the Subaccount, where you've got, and I'm just going to go back real quick, where you've got one, this is where it kind of gets confusing because they look so similar. So here's this click here to switch. That means you're at the agency level, right? When you're in a Subaccount, you're going to see the Subaccount here. At the agency level, you're going to have a bunch of stuff on this first column. And you're going to have settings at the bottom. You're going to have that same configuration when you switch to Subaccount. You're going to have a bunch of options here, and then you're going to have settings at the bottom. So this is settings for the agency account. When you have that settings down there, it's going to look exactly the same. But if you're in a Subaccount up here, it's going to be settings for the Subaccount. So going to be different options, right? So this My Profile is you at the agency level. Okay. So this is all agency related stuff. But you're going to see My Profile company, things like that, and the Subaccount as well. This is where it gets very confusing for folks. That's all for the Subaccount. So the profile for the Subaccount might be for the business owner. Company is going to be their company, not your company, right? So agency level, Subaccount level. I want to keep stressing that because that's like a tripping point for a lot of folks. So this company information here is going to be all about you and your agency company. This is what you put in when you first signed up for the trial. All right. So your white label, if you're going to offer white label, here's where you configure that stuff. Upload your logo. It's going to show up here instead of the HighLevel logo. Your company logo will be here. And here's where you can set up your domains. Now that's going to be, those are very in-depth in of themselves. We're going to cover them a little bit, but that's where you'd set up. You don't need to necessarily do any of this custom stuff right out the gate. You can choose your light theme or dark theme here. I prefer dark theme. So that's that. So this is basically API keys. I would just keep this on. This stuff is different since the last time I was in here. Session timeout. Configure session will be terminated if the user automatically logged out. If the user is inactive for the selectors. Okay. So yeah, you could set how long someone can be logged in for. It's fine. That's new. Optimize, enable, disable guides for you and your clients. So net promoter score for, yeah, I would turn all of this stuff on. Yep. This provide pre-filled data, new sub-accounts, helping clients explore features and accelerating onboarding. So this is good. So this basically will help your clients in the sub-accounts set up stuff and go from there. So that's, you would want all those on, unless you're going to really dial into one specific thing and you just want people focused on one part. Or if you don't have anybody logging in because your offer doesn't require them to log in, that's a thing too. You may not need these. Team. So this is you and your agency. So there's me in here now, but you could add a user and you could add someone else. So if you have support, so say you have a white label support that's going to help you at the agency level, I have a link for FuseMate below. They are excellent. You would create an account for them here at the agency level and give them access, right? And here's where you can set up all of the things that they can do. This is a very similar configuration at the sub-account level, but that's going to be for people in the sub-account only. They're not going to have access to the agency level. So it would be your client and their employees, right? So not the same as what you have up here. So it's going to be at your level. And if you're going to give someone admin access, chances are you're going to want them to just have access to everything, but maybe not. It all depends. So this is the user info, and this is the roles and permissions that person can access at the agency level, which means more than likely you're going to have them having access to the sub-accounts, but you can restrict certain sub-accounts. If you have a sub-account that's high sensitive, maybe government, maybe health, medical, whatever, and it's HIPAA and all that, then you might restrict certain accounts from that person having access to. All right. So very customizable, as you can see. So billing, here's where I showed you initially where you can change your plan, skip trial and start right away. As you can see how many payments you've made, all that fun stuff. If you want to know exactly what you are paying for, here's where all of your, it's under, a lot of people ask this, like, where do I find out why am I getting paid or why am I getting charged XYZ, a couple dollars here, a couple dollars there. Here's all the charges right here under billing at the agency level. Go to wallets and transactions. You're going to see all of the stuff that you get billed for and hopefully making a profit if you're rebilling. Oh, and over here you have your auto recharge. You can determine how much you're going to replenish at what level to your account and set notifications depending on spending limits. So you might want to set a threshold that says add a condition for certain sub accounts. If wallet goes above that. So it's completely dependent on what you want to do. A lot of the stuff, it's like anything else. Somebody had to use it. A couple of people needed it, but most people don't. So it just goes in here and it's still a feature to use. So you can add additional emails that might get notified. So that's that. All right. All right. So here under phone integration, we have agency settings here. Basically, HighLevel uses lead connector, goes through Twilio. There's really nothing you have to do here. Under sub-account settings, mainly want to decide whether you're going to do rebilling or not if it's SaaS. So this is saying rebilling is, we'll go to the rebilling tab and manage client page, enable rebilling. So it's turned off at the client level in the sub-account. So I can't turn it on here. But if it was enabled there, you could turn it on and off here. The one that we created is connected to LC phone because there was a phone number when we created that sub-account. So if they were going to go with a different phone provider, you would come in here and delete all of the associated connections to LC phone. They were going to go with someone besides Twilio, but this is really in the weeds stuff that you probably never have to mess with. And here you can move phone numbers between accounts. Might be something you would need to do if you were running multiple sub accounts for your own agency. Maybe one was for snapshots and another one you had for different testing and stuff, and you want to move a phone number from one to the other. Good. Just be very careful. This is important. Your A2P status is not going to be moved. So when you get A2P configured, it's directly associated with that sub account. If you move that number to another sub account, you're going to have to go through A2P configuration or verification again. Very important. So here's some additional settings here. Allow users to submit A2P registration if rebilling is disabled. Automatically enable number intelligence. This feature allows to check the number's validity before sending the first SMS, detect the incoming spam calls, and look up the names of unknown callers before answering the phone. This is something I would say you probably want to turn on. I would leave this off unless it's your own sub account, but I would not let people go through A2P unless you're rebilling them. And here's where you could turn on that intelligence again per account. So this is going to turn it on if it's new accounts. It's going to turn it on for individual accounts. All right, now email services. Now, the easiest way to sum this up is when you first sign up with HighLevel, you're using their configuration for email, and that configuration is shared with everyone else who uses HighLevel. Not everybody understands best practice when it comes to email, and they send out blasts and spam and things like that, sometimes on purpose, sometimes by accident. So your deliverability when you first sign up, if you try to use HighLevel's configuration, is probably going to be not so great. So the idea is you would want to connect your own domain and send emails from your own sending domain. So you, whatever your company is.com, not from Lead Connector or whatever. That's basically what this is. We'll go into some more details with that a little later. So you can create a dedicated domain right here. Right now, this is where you can put in whatever your domain is. So a lot of times you might want to send mail from a primary domain or subdomain. So you'd either put in mail and mydomain.com or just mydomain.com, whatever your domain is. And then when you hit add and verify, it's going to, this is saying it's already in there. Someone's already used that, but you're going to have to log into your registrar, GoDaddy or Namecheap or whatever, to update the records so that way HighLevel can send and receive emails from the HighLevel side of things through your email server. So this is set up here for your agency account, but you can set this up separately for each subdomain. So it's going to be a very similar configuration at the subdomain level. Now here it says we recommend using a subdomain with Mailgun, like mg.mydomain.com. Using a subdomain to be able to send emails from a root domain. So basically, the reason why they suggest this is because your domain reputation, you don't really want to jeopardize your root domain. Subdomains still affect root domain at many levels. And email configuration is a very in-depth topic. Not going to be able to go crazy with it here, but the idea is you don't want to spam and you want to make it to the inbox. So I'm going to make another video that really goes into detail on setting up email configuration HighLevel. But for now, just know that this is where you start to link it to your own domain. So we're going to go back here to system emails. All right. So this is like your main welcome email template, reset password email, verification code. These are going to be like system generated emails. And here's a logo that'll go out with those. Nothing crazy. You can change the template here, preview it. All right. So obviously if you want to have your branding here, you can, and it doesn't have to come from Lead Connector like that. Lead Connector premium triggers and actions. This is typically going to be a workflow option where premium triggers will do different things in workflows. We're going to get to that later. And here's where you can turn those type of things on and off at your agency level. And that's pretty much it. AI employee here. Basically, the idea of AI employee is simply, it provides access to all the AI tools, conversation AI, review AI, content AI, AI agent, right? So It's all the AI features that HighLevel has that are built into one package. You can have rebilling for that. Right now it's set for paper use. HighLevel also has an unlimited AI plan. It's like another $97 a month. Workflow AI is basically in workflows, which we'll get to. There's AI features you can have happen in there. You can turn that on or off at the agency level. Enable or disable the ability for your clients to buy domains or rebuild their domain. So if they want to set up another website, joeschmoplumbing.com, Joe Schmo Plumbing 2, Location 3, whatever it is, here's where you would enable or disable them to have the ability to log in and buy their own stuff, which I would probably not turn that off because you can make money on it. Autocomplete address. I don't even know what this is. Okay, autocomplete address. Yep. All right. So in the forms setting, see, so HighLevel's got great documentation. If you want this to drop down and put the address in here automatically, help with conversion rate, then that's what that is. So apparently you can enable or disable a feature or enable rebuilding. I guess that's a premium feature. They charge for that. Okay. There you go. Private integrations, simple yet secure way to integrate with a third party. So this, I'm assuming, is going to be some API type of thing. Not something I've ever done, but if you're maybe working with someone who has like point of sale systems or some type of like maybe a database that you need to have access to, and there's going to be some type of third party integration that talks between the two, or maybe another CRM, this might be where you would start to build that out. So here's your main affiliate link, Facebook Pixel ID. If you're sending paid traffic to here from Facebook, you can go ahead and put your Pixel ID in here. That way you can get an idea of your landing page statistics. All right, down here, custom menu links. So here's where you can additionally create custom menu links. You can open an iframe window inside. So it'll be like when they log into their account, there'll be a link here to it. You can open a new tab in their browser or open a whole new window inside the current browser. And essentially they would be bumped out of their agency account. And you can apply this to Subaccounts. So if you have a link to maybe a chat GPT agent that you created or anything that you might have that's value added for your niche, some other thing that you've done, and you want to add that as part of what they get as their bonuses or whatever. And so they get it as soon as they create their account. And as soon as they log in, they'll have those menus there. I guess a lot of microphone, camera, there might be, maybe if you have video conferencing or something in whatever you're running inside that iframe, that would enable access to that through that window. Yep, pretty cool. Here's a Stripe integration. We set that up originally. So agency API keys, these are useful if you have something like Zappy Chat or some other third-party integration where it's going to have to transmit data to and from your HighLevel account in real time. These are going to be the APIs that you want to use. You have sub-account level APIs as well. This is an agency level API. So you have HIPAA compliance here as well as GDPR. Now labs is a big one. So generally you turn all this stuff on. This is constantly changing, so I'm not going to really go into it too much. Sometimes they're different at the agency level and the sub-account level. So I would keep an eye on these as they come in. There's been times where they have pulled these things and delayed launch because of feedback that they get from users. Definitely good to have. And audit logs is basically a log of what's been going on with your account. Updated these fields when I added this account, snapshot. Yep. So if you want to see what's going on behind the scenes, if somebody logged in or something was changed, you come here to audit logs and get some more details. All right. So that is everything at a high level view of the agency level. Let's jump into a sub account and we'll go through that. We're going to do the Jared's Finest Plumbing since we created that one. Right. All right. So we're here in the sub account. We'll jump up to the first level here, Launchpad. So this is what your clients will see when they first log in. And it's generally a good idea to go down here through all this stuff. You want to make sure they download the mobile app if they are going to use the CRM for any of your offers. So they get their notifications and they can see all their communications with their clients. If you're doing review management, reputation management, you definitely want to connect their Google Business Profile. If you're going to run Facebook ads and you're going to run your leads directly into the CRM and follow up with automations and whatnot, you're going to want to use your Facebook integration here. Here's where you can connect their web chat widget to the website. And they don't have to use a HighLevel website. You can actually put the code on any website. It'll work. If you're not in the US and you have heavy WhatsApp usage, you're going to want to connect WhatsApp. This is for your customer to connect their Stripe account so they can accept payments for anything they might be offering. This is going to be your listings and citations here. So this again goes along with reputation management. If you want to move their WordPress hosting over to HighLevel, you can. And here's where they can go to add team members. So this is going to be their dashboard, the Subaccounts dashboard. Here's an example funnel here, new lead, hot lead, book call, all completed. So these are your pipeline stages. We're going to get more into those later. So here's where they may spend a lot of time. If they do log into the CRM, there's going to be conversations. Now there's no previous conversations in here. So this may not be the best example, but on the left side here, you have some filters for unread, recent, starred, and all. And there's additional filters here. So if you have automated messages that went out, you could filter whether automated or manual. You could filter by who they're assigned to. You could filter by which direction they went. If someone sent a message in, you sent a message out, or outbound, last message outbound type automated manual, or the channel in which the messages had been executed on, right? Even from, you got voicemail here as well. You can clear these filters. There is, I think still maybe, I don't know if there's a bug or not, but I found that any more than 2 filters didn't work. So just be careful with that. And here's where you can send some bulk messaging here to the groups. You could choose a contact or group message, choose a phone number you want to send a message from, and then you can choose participants. There's another place that you can send bulk messages, but that's in here. All right, so manual actions. Typically, this is going to be where you would use the power dialer and you would click start and you would start calling through your leads automatically with a timer in between. You can have automated dispositions and whatnot. That's all I've typically used it for. There may be other things in here. There's one other popular item that's in manual actions, and I cannot remember exactly what that is at the moment. Okay, so snippets. These are going to be basically templatized messaging that you can use in your workflows. You can add a text or an email snippet, and we'll get to where these go in workflows later, but just know that this is where these reside at. It's different than an email campaign that may have pretty templates and stuff. And trigger links, these are what go inside emails or messages where if people click on something, you can have it fire an action and automations inside the platform. So you can automate things from emails and whatnot. So that's most of what's under here in conversations. So calendars, this is a beast. There's a ton of stuff in here. Basically, you've got calendar groups, and then you've got calendars, and then you can have a calendar. There's all different types of calendars. For example, this is book a new appointment. Let's go into calendar settings here. Great calendar. Here's the main thing. So you have personal booking calendar. This is scheduling one-on-one meetings with specific team member. Round robin distributes appointments among team members in a rotating order. If you have a sales call. Class booking. So this would be one host meets with multiple participants, and then collective booking. So multiple hosts meet with one participant. Then you have 2 other types here. Event calendar for scheduling physical events with no host association, and service booking. So this is scheduling for like service-based businesses. So yeah, like a spa or repair, consultations, things like that. So depending on what type of business you have, you would choose an appropriate calendar here. And then there's a whole ton of automations, stuff that can happen in the background with that. So here's where you'd set up your groups. If you are going to group calendars, if you're going to have a service type calendar, here's where you can add your services in here. We have rooms that might be available here. If you have a spa or whatnot, or equipment rentals, this can go in here. All right. So very powerful. It would take forever and a day to dive into every single detail for every single business type with calendars, but just know that pretty much you can do anything with it. And here's some preferences that you can set for each calendar, or globally for calendars. Oh, I'm not part of this account. I'd have to add myself here. There are integrations with Google Calendar, so you can synchronize across the board, as well as integrations with Zoom and other video platforms. Those links can go out automatically depending on what you're booking and how you're booking, especially for internet, like sales team type stuff and remote Zoom type sales. All right, so that's basically it for calendar settings. Now it did bump me into the settings column here. We didn't get to this yet. Remember I said it's similar to the other one. So I'm going to hit go back because we were actually in this menu, and then we have settings at the bottom. Now this looks very similar to the agency view and it's almost identical, but remember up here, now we're in a sub account. So these are going to be slightly different, and the settings are going to be slightly different. If I were to click here and switch to agency view, I would get it again, that the other menu we had previously here and settings down here, and it would be all agency related stuff. So just always be aware of what account you're in. It's always going to be referenced in the upper left-hand corner here. So after we're done with calendars now, let's jump down to, oh, hold on a second. So on this tab for calendars, you have appointment list view. So all your appointments that are coming up, you can filter them here and customize. They're going to all show here. And then here's where you would get to those calendar settings again. All right. So contacts. So this is where a lot of people get tripped up as well. So this all setting here, it's basically no filter. Every single thing that happens in HighLevel pretty much resolves around a contact. So any type of anything, communication, emails, even Facebook spam messages coming in on Facebook Messenger, if you're connected to your Facebook account, it's going to load up tons and tons of stuff in here. This is just noise. You never have to really use all for much of anything. The best thing to do is build custom filters for however you want your leads to show up in here, depending on how you're getting them in. So if they're coming in through Facebook or whatever, build filters. So for instance, let's say, I'll give you one example here. Let's just say you could have a form on a website. If you're running lead gen to a landing page, you could come in through that, but let's just pick something. There's so many options here. It's hard to just choose one random thing. Let's just say we don't have any pipelines set up right now. So we'll just say that they have an email, right? So email is not empty. All right. So now we can apply this filter, and you have and or here. So you can continue to stack these. And what we want to do is at the bottom here, I'll get out of the way. We want to save as smart list. You see that? And now we name this has email and hit save. Now here, see this has email. This will always be here, and you can see what it is. And you can create a new one and hit save as new, and just keep building out different filters here. You can add a new contact manually here if you want to, or new contacts get created as they come into the system through other channels. If somebody calls your phone number, it creates a contact for them if they're not in there. There may not be a name right? But it's like a contact with no name, but there's a phone number. And then if they left the message, you'll be able to play the voicemail. So that's going to be in like every single communication comes in under the all. So just be aware of that. Here's where you can send some bulk messages, right? You can add contacts to dump them into a workflow here if you want to. You can send messages, you can send emails, you can add tags. So once you have contacts created, you can start to use some of these buttons up here. You can delete the contacts. You can export and import contacts. So this is a big one. So database reactivation is one of the first services you could offer any client to get them some money right up front. Usually if they're an established business, they're sitting on, could be thousands of contacts that they haven't reached out to ever. This is where you would import and export those CSVs. And basically they're going to have your typical columns and filters that you would go through. Let me see here. So you would, so start to import, you want to import contacts. Boom. You can import to opportunities, but typically just do contacts, upload your file. Now here's where you would want to choose. Do you want to create contacts? Do you want to create an update contacts? Just updates, right? So you can bulk update or bulk create and update contacts, right? And the next one, I don't have a file here to put in, but the next one, you're going to map the columns to the fields. So whatever columns you have in your CSV, you're going to map them there. And here's going to verify that those are going to match up. And then once you hit import, you're going to get all those contacts dumped into the system. Now just be really careful with any bulk action at HighLevel because you can mess up accidentally. You can bulk email thousands of emails at once and blow up your domain. You can bulk text message by accident, send thousands of SMS messages and cause your account to get temporarily shut down. Now HighLevel has limits in place where they will actually throttle you back or suspend your messaging if it's something wrong happened like that, usually before Twilio will, right? So they have tighter parameters in place to protect you, honestly. And really, they don't kick in unless something like that crazy happens. Don't ask me how I know. So you can add or edit company stuff here. You can bulk WhatsApp. You can merge contacts together. Sometimes it can get messy. Like one person came in on a Facebook ad and then maybe they called in or they text you from a different number. So now you have the same contact with a phone number for one contact and like their whatever, maybe they came in on lead form. It's another one, but they use a different phone number. You can select them here and then you can merge them together and it'll put the data together. All right. So bulk actions, this is basically any bulk action that you do. It's like selecting a bunch of contacts and sending them or anything where you're doing a bulk action like that, it's going to get logged here. If you delete contacts, you can restore them from here. So this is like a kind of a mini task manager. It's pretty good. You can create tasks. You can assign them to somebody. Assign them to yourself. You can set reminders. You can set recurring tasks. If you got to just quick put some in here to catch up with someone, it's not a full-blown project management application like ClickUp or something would be, but it's good. This is 80% of what most people would need, honestly. If you have multiple contacts assigned to a company, you can put the company in here and you can assign them. Here you can see your list of companies. Now here's where you can manage your smart lists. Now, a lot of people don't dive into this. I used this when I was running a life insurance agency where I had other appointment setters logging into the system and they would have different smart lists, right? And so here's where you can share your lists with different people, depending on how you have it set up. So say this has email, right? Let's see here. Where's it at? Share smart. Okay. So if you share this, all right, global list is created when the smart list is shared with all users. Only an administrator can change the files, right? So if you create smart lists, say you're running a real estate, any kind of agency, we have agents or sales team, whatever, and you're like, all right, I'm doing the marketing, I'm doing my leads, and I want the leads to come in and end up in these smart lists. And then I'm going to tell my reps, call the first smart list as leads that are less than 1 hour old or something, or 30 days to 90 days. Something like that if you're doing outbound. So that way you don't have to manually create those over and over. Because if you add a user to your account, they don't get the smart list. You have to share it with them. And here's where you manage that. All right. So that's contacts. All right. Opportunities. This is essentially your pipelines. So you can drag and drop these guys in here into different segments. So right now you might say, okay, this is marketing pipeline. I can edit the stages of the pipeline. Now here's also, you can turn this on or off to make it visible on the home page, on your dashboard right here. Okay. So after opportunities, you have payments. So again, depends on your business, right? You have invoices, estimates, recurring invoices, templates. Okay. You have documents and contracts, basically replaces DocuSign, orders, abandoned checkouts, subscriptions, payment links you can send people. Here's all transactions. You can do e-com from here if you want to. Here's all where your products would be, inventory, right? You can add this if you're going to put items in an online store when we get to the website hosting part. You have your product reviews. What are people leaving reviews? Coupons for your products you can add. This gets really deep in here, but you can really do a lot on the e-com side if you'd like. There's receipts, taxes, notifications, shipping, delivery, tons and tons of stuff. And then here's payment integrations for that. Lots in here under payments. AI agents. So here's your voice AI and conversational AI. Creating a voice AI agent is pretty straightforward. Takes you through the wizard step by step. Right now, it's only inbound calls. What do you want the greeting to say? You hit next. You have to choose a phone number. You can choose a knowledge base for the agent. You can create a new knowledge base here, and you can extract data from websites. You can upload links, FAQs. Coming soon, we're going to be able to upload files, right? Web crawler. All right. So that's really good to be able to train the AI. So say we have this one we just created here. Let's go back and edit this. All right. So here's again, inbound calls. Here's a greeting, agent goals. So I like to use advanced mode because you can put custom prompting in here. Here's where you would attach that knowledge base, and then you can have automations, fire, call transfer, trigger workflow, send message, update contact field, book appointment. All this stuff can happen from that. You can trigger a workflow. I don't have any workflows built yet, but there's a lot in here that you could do. And then here's where you could send an email out. So say you were going to sell just voice AI, where it, answered the phone, took a message and sent the message to the business owner. You literally can just do all that right in the prompt. You could train it maybe on that company's website, and then you can put in the email of the business owner here, and they're going to get that transcript and be able to call the person back. So that's really powerful. Just that right there, you could literally make 6 figures just selling that to local businesses, because they lose a lot of money from missed calls. It's like a stupid amount. Go call 100 contractors. I've done this. 60 of them won't answer the phone. All right, so phone availability. This is not clicking. Why is it not clicking? Probably because I didn't save it. Let me go back here. Okay, so here's where you would choose your phone number. I don't have a number on this account, but you would choose a phone number that the AI agent is going to essentially operate on. Set working hours. So this one's important. Do you want the AI agent to answer right away or to wait until a few calls, right? So if the business owner is going to use their existing phone number for the AI agent to handle calls, you're going to want to set up conditional call forwarding, so that way their phone rings for a certain amount of time. And then when it goes to voicemail on their side, instead of it going to voicemail, it comes over here. You want to turn this off. You want the AI to answer directly because it already rang on the business owner's side, right? Now, if you're using the phone number and like you bought a phone number for them you set up in HighLevel, you're going to want to have this here to let the phone ring a little bit. So that way someone can pick up, it'll ring on the mobile app too. They can answer it there or whatever, sales team, whatever, round robin, all that stuff. And then if no one picks up and no one answers on the HighLevel side, then this will pick up after that. So depending on your use case and how you have it set up will depend on how you want to use this. And this is all your history stuff for calls and out sentiment. So what was a call overall? The AI can tell if it's positive or negative sentiment of the calls. And this is where all that stuff would be for your historical data. All right, so we'll go to conversation AI. Conversation AI is going to be anything that's not voice. So it's general Q&A, appointment booking, start from scratch. This is where you can have the chat widget on the website. You can have it talking back with Facebook leads, WhatsApp, email, whatever you want. Oh, sorry, I lied. Email if you're using a third-party integration like Zappy Chat. Right now, you just have WhatsApp, live chat, web chat widget, Facebook and Instagram, and regular text. So most people use autopilot and they set up this stuff here. You have a business name, whether it's going to wait how many seconds before responding, maximum messages per conversation, want to send the bot to sleep. You can upgrade to limited. Right now it's on 2 cents per response. And then here's where you would have your bot training. So you choose your knowledge base. You can add more to it here. You can crawl URL for a particular website, so that way it knows all the information about the business. So you can actually test your bot right here, sending a test message. Here you can set goals for the bot, appointment booking, workflow, just add contact information, or you can stop the bot when a certain condition's met. And all the prompt engineering, I'm going to have more videos on prompt engineering and go over my prompts that I have. The default ones are functional, but I would not say they're the best. And here's your dashboard for all of your conversational stuff on the AI, on the text bot side of things. So we have a voice AI, a text AI. All right. It keeps bumping me to settings. So under AI agent, that's really the two main ones, right? Conversation AI and voice AI. Voice AI is for inbound calls. Conversation AI is for all the other stuff. All right. Marketing. So if you're going to sell social media marketing, right? You have a content planner. You can connect HighLevel to all these platforms. You can completely automate whatever you're selling for the business. Email marketing, you create campaigns here. This is like a whole big ecosystem of stuff. This is literally entire massive companies have been built just on SMMA using this kind of stuff. Countdown timers. So a note on countdown timers, if you create a countdown timer and you put it on your website and you have an offer, it's illegal for you not to close the offer when the countdown timer expires. It used to be people just have countdown timers. If it would just go to 0, nothing would happen, but they would just keep resetting, right? It was a big joke. Can't do that anymore. You get in big trouble. So if you start to put any of this stuff in your ads or in your promos, landing pages, make sure that it's real. Again, trigger links here. Sorry, so affiliate manager. A lot of people get confused. So there's two types of affiliates with HighLevel. You have like high-level affiliates, which are essentially the sales team for HighLevel directly, right? HighLevel doesn't have a sales team. They only sell through their affiliates. Then you, as a end user for HighLevel, can build your own affiliate program for whatever you want, right? And that's where this comes into play. So you can build any product where you want to. It could be e-com. It could be like a Amway type of thing where you got like a network marketing or multi-level marketing type of thing. Whatever, right? You can build out your own custom affiliate program right in here and go through all this stuff. I'm not going to dive all into all this because this is all in that bubble of building out an affiliate product, but that's what this is. You can determine how much people get paid. You can build the landing pages, links, the products, whatever it is. This could be one thing that you do, help people build affiliate programs. Literally everything could just be right in here. Brand boards. It's going to be basically, you're just going to design your own brand colors, brand voice, right? This is so that way when you're doing ads and marketing, stuff can stay on point. You go through these wizards as you see fit. Ad manager. All right. So Facebook or Google ads. I'm not sure if Google Ads is in here yet. I think it's just Facebook. Basically, all the ad templates stuff are in here. You don't have to log into Ads Manager. You can literally launch and run all your Facebook ads for all your clients and manage them right from here. And it's only $29 a month. So that's going to save you a ton of time from having to log in and out of all your clients' Facebook ad accounts. That's a nightmare, right? So you can manage it all right from here. It's pretty awesome. Content AI, this is basically, if you're doing content AI, your metrics on all that is going to be here. Again, they have an unlimited option if you want. I'll jump back over to the email real quick. So the email campaign, this is cool. So you have all these templates. So this is different from website templates. These are email templates. All right, I believe. Yeah. So pretty cool. Okay. And they would be in here. These came in from that snapshot that I dumped in. All right. So next area of automation. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where the powerhouse features really come into play. So a lot of times I'll just say start with a recipe and pick something that you want to do. Right. So say you want to send a review request. You can start with this one. Fast 5 has been around for a while, but this is pretty good if you're getting leads to come in, respond to them quickly. Missed call text back, that's been replaced with inbound voice AI now. I really wouldn't use missed call text back anymore. It's an inferior product in comparison to inbound voice AI. Why have somebody, why hang up on someone and send them a text when you could answer the phone and have AI essentially do what the business owner would do? If the business owner is not going to answer one or the other, the inbound AI is exponentially more effective. So let's just do the fast 5. Okay. So here, the way all these work, it's like a waterfall. Your contacts come in from the top and they fall down through here and they trickle through. And it's like those machines you put the quarter in and it bounces around and comes out the bottom. You don't actually get the whole stack of quarters to fall off ever. How this is, except you do get the stack of quarters because you make money. At the top though, they won't have a trigger. So this is, what do you want? How do you want the contact to enter here? So there's all kind of stuff you can choose from. Not going to go through all of these because this would be hours and hours, but basically it's going to be primarily, if you're running Facebook ads, it's going to be a Facebook form, and that's going to be under, you probably just type it in. Yep. Facebook lead form. Or if they're coming in on a website, it's just going to be a regular form. One that would be on one of your landing pages, you would choose it in here. If you bulk add contacts, you can manually dump them into a workflow from the contact section. So you don't need anything here if you're going to create a workflow that does something that you want it to do, like maybe tagging a bunch of contacts or whatever. But yeah, so, there's any one of these you could just play around, but there's a ton of stuff in here that can trigger a contact to enter one of these workflows. So it's basically what's going to do is this is going to create an opportunity. Now remember we had that marketing pipeline in there. We could choose the pipeline stage, say new lead, right? Boom. Contact name, opportunity. And some allow opportunity to move to any previous state or allow duplicate opportunities. I typically would not allow duplicate opportunities. That's probably good to have. So we can save that. Then it's going to say, hey, we're going to send an email now to them, right? It's going to have this information. You can change this to whatever you want. We're going to send them a text message, assuming we got their phone number. Then we're going to wait for 2 minutes. And this is just so you can see, like, how do they build this out? Then it's going to be, did they reply, right? It's a yes or no branch. Contact replied true. And you can customize this to, like, there's a bazillion things here that you can do to determine what happens with these branches, with these yes, no. If it's an if then statement. So splits again here. They true. Yep. Was it a positive reply? Yes or no? What the sentiment wise? If it's positive and we want to send them a booking link, here's the link to service. If it's negative, maybe an internal notification, whatever they said, would go, right? So you can customize this to whatever you want. There's no contact, right? Now we're going to do, so this is call connect. So basically this is going to call internally to one of your sales team reps and say you have a new lead from press any key to connect. And as soon as you do that, it's going to call the lead. It's going to send them a voicemail. What is this? That's weird. We probably want to change that MP3 out to something else. And then essentially wait a day and they don't have anything after that. So just so you can see how they're built. This is workflows, but this is really where you can customize all kind of stuff for your business. We will just leave that unsaved. Again, there's millions of ways you can configure that. So I just want to give you an overview of it. So there's a global workflow settings. So where do you want workflow error notifications to go to? You could set specific users that it gets emailed to. If you have a web developer guy or someone who's a tech person, go to that. You can pause workflows here. I'm going to go back. I forgot one section here under this. So when you have a workflow, we forgot to go across the top here. So this is a different one. So we have settings. So allow reentry, again, depends on what you're doing. You may or may not want to allow reentry. Allow multiple opportunities, stop on response, ends workflow for context. So say you're in like a nurturing workflow. If they respond, do you want to stop sending the messages? Do you want to communicate in the account time zone or the contact time zone? Probably want to execute in the contact time zone, so you're not sending maybe text messages and stuff outside hours. You can have a specific time window that the entire workflow will operate, and then you can have default send from details or send from number. And then if you want to mark conversations as read, toggle this on if you want the conversation that this workflow will interact with to be marked as read. So back here in conversations, you've got this read or unread filter. If you want all of the automated communication to be marked as read, so unread is only like manual communications from real people, that's where that option will come into play. Okay. I think that's going to be mostly it for workflows, short of spending 6.5 years going through all of it. These execution logs and enrollment history, this is basically what was fired off from the workflow, and enrollment history is who went through when. So you would use both of these if you're troubleshooting to see what's happening, and then that's it for settings. All right. So websites. So there's two things here. We have funnels and websites. So a funnel is essentially a landing page. You want someone to read top to bottom, take some sort of call to action. There's thousands of funnel templates. You can build a blank one. You could build it from AI, or you can go from template. I typically go from a template. That way you're not starting from scratch. There's all these different categories here. Again, tons. You can just keep scrolling till next never on this. It's crazy. And when you grab one, say this, here's where you could say, oh, I'm going to build a website for you. A lot of guys that are like selling websites, in 2 seconds, you can grab one for landscaping or whatever, pop it in here, get them on a Zoom, be like, here's your site, just pop in their business info. It's done in 5 minutes. This is how they do it, right? Put a logo in there. You could steal it from their current website if they have a crappy one, or you could just put one in there. This isn't a site for local contractor, but you get the idea, right? So this is your typical what you get type of website builder. Basically, it's not where you can just like click on something and drag it around randomly. It's all done with the wireframe boxes, I guess I call it. But yeah, so another video will be going deep into the website builder. There's a lot there. Websites, the same type of deal, but this is going to be obviously multiple pages versus just one landing page. Again, they have different templates. Some of them are similar, but not the same. So we'll add this one in. Again, there was one there from that snapshot that I dumped in. You can put a lot of stuff in the snapshot. That way somebody gets like a whole build out ready to go if you really want to go that route. But there needs to be like decent amount of training. Transform your business, transform your life. Yeah. So this is like a coaching thing or whatever. So it's nice. It's already, you can just change this stuff up. Basically, whatever you click on the right side is going to be what stuff you can change for it. And over here, you've got where you got your layers that you can drill into on your page. Got your pages, pretty much standard background. You can manage your pop-up if you want to pop up, and pretty much standard stuff. You can add all kind of things here. Section templates, got pre-built sections, buttons, all this different stuff. You can just drag it out, right? Whatever you want. So lots and lots of stuff with the website builder, but this is not a specific video on building websites with HighLevel, so I'm not going to go crazy into that. Here's if you want a store, create an e-com store. If you're going to run a webinar, you can start a webinar. Here's analytics for stuff, page views, things like that. Where are they coming from? Types of traffic, all that fun stuff. Total sales opt-ins, blogs. Blogs, here's where you can create a blog site, title, WordPress. You can have WordPress for $15 a month. Again, I'm in a Subaccount though, so this is going to be whatever you set at the agency level. Client portal. I ran this for my agents when I had life insurance agency. You could log in all their training for carrier contracts and all that stuff was all in there, and I could see how much they went through, and you can award them, give them certificates, completion, whatever you want. And it also comes with a mobile app, but that client portal is actually a separate domain. So this is where you set all this stuff up. Yeah, like I said, that domain is going to be separate. App permissions, branding, email setting. There's a whole ecosystem of stuff in here. The client portal. It's really cool though. So here's where you can build your forms. This is going to be in combination with funnels and websites. So if you want a form, so there's one in here already. And then when you're in the builder, you can just drop the form on the page, but here's where you build your forms out. And over here on the other side, you got a bunch of other things. Again, this is not a form building video, so I'm not going to go crazy with it. Just know that there's tons of options on here. You could switch the theme, and you can switch to mobile view or desktop view. Go back. And once you have a form built, you can drop that form in. You can actually even have a direct link to the form, and you don't even need a website. So depending on what you're trying to do with your opt-in, you can just, the form is like its own web page. It's pretty wild. Surveys, so that's different. That's going to be like a step people along question. There's so much in here, but you get the idea. This is where you build out your surveys, and you can see how many people had submissions for them, quizzes, and here's where you build your web chat widget. So what type of chat widget do you want to be? All-in-one chat, live chat. Right, so say you choose this. It shows you what it would look like on mobile, tablet, desktop, and then you can choose your style, widget configuration. But the cool thing about this is, here, check this out, right? So you don't need, if you want to sell somebody a web chat widget, or you want to sell somebody AI, because this can be linked to your conversational AI once you train it. You can grab it for WordPress here if they have a WordPress site, or you can just get the code and you can literally paste this into, I've done it on a Wix site or whatever. So you don't even need HighLevel, right? You can just sell the web chat. You can have this book on appointments. You can have this do whatever you want. You can just sell that, and they don't even need to log into HighLevel. You don't have to create anything in here except for the web chat widget. You can sell somebody chatbots right here. Boom. Create QR codes for whatever you want. All right. So that's everything under sites. All right. Next we have memberships. Now this has to do with the client portal, right? So it's associated with that. You can generate a magic link, which is essentially an instant login type link, where you can send an invite or send a login email with passwords already there. Here's just right back to that same part. So there's a little bit of a loop here on the navigation, right? But this is slightly different. So here is where you can add custom courses. It's your dashboard for that, products, offers, and then you have analytics. So this is all under memberships. So if you were a course creator, this is where you would really live in the platform. You have community groups, your branded mobile app. Here's where you can create those certificates for people that get to certain points, right? You can use any one of these templates, customize it, and they would automatically get that when they completed their course, whatever you put together. Now, GoCollab, this is basically essentially their school community type platform here. So there's a whole ecosystem in and of itself, but this is free too, right? So you don't have to pay for school. You can build your own community right in here, and it's a really good value add in comparison to spending money on school. Media storage, here's where you can upload all kinds of stuff. That way you can use in your creatives and emails and websites and everything. All of your videos, pictures, you can create custom AI images here. I'm not going to do it because it will charge me for it, but you can type in a prompt. To be honest with you, at this point, ChatGPT is free for that stuff. Just honestly, it may or may not be worth it for you to use that, but that is your media library. All right, reputation management. Again, entire business is built just on this, right? So all of your Google reviews and like Google Business Profile, like if you want to do a review reputation management agency, this is where you'll live, right here. And so your requests will come in here. You can send review requests. You can set up AI reviews in here, widgets, create a new one, which would basically live on their website. So if you say you had a website and you had a little carousel that would scroll your reviews, this is where you would build that. Listings, this is essentially all your citations online. So that's a whole nother ball of wax. We won't get into that stuff. It's local SEO, local service businesses and whatnot. So here's where your review AI mainly would be configured. So you would do maybe auto responses. You can create an agent. You can choose the type of personality the agent has, right? So here's a prompt. You can read through these depending on what you want. And then you can choose the source. So you have way more. We have Google and Facebook, but there's additional that you can configure, I think like up to 40. Then you can see what the preview would look like here and generate up to 50 reviews in 24 hours. All right. Here's where you can customize your review link. You can send mobile review requests here. This can be automated. You can send email review requests here, WhatsApp review requests here. Here's a review QR code that you can generate that will take somebody right to there. Here's where you can automatically detect whether you have incoming spam reviews or not. And here's all the different platforms you can integrate for reviews, right? Way more than just Google. And the AI can communicate on these platforms. So here you have reports. If you're running ads, you can have your Google ads reporting in here, Facebook ads reporting here, attribution reports. This has to do with your lead sources, depending on, you could be, say you're running links on like a YouTube channel and links in Facebook and links from email campaigns. Those different sources would be where you would see that kind of stuff, the attribution. If you're running a call center type activity or you're doing outbound calls, here's where you can see incoming calls, outgoing calls, your top agents. There's even a leaderboard in here, right? So for people that are loving the power dialing stuff, this is where you'll live, right? So maybe life insurance or some other type of industry where a lot of it's outbound dialing. This is where you're going to live, right? This is why you see how HighLevel is so useful to so many different types of businesses. This is why when people say, what's the best thing? Or it's an open platform for whatever you want. Here's reports on your appointments. Who's got the most book calendars, whatnot. All right. Last thing here, marketing report, use information of your website. So I don't have my Google connected to this, so it's not going to let me go through, but you can do another marketing report from here. So here's your app marketplace, lots and lots of apps. This is similar to what you would have seen in the agency view. Now we'll jump down to settings. So this is going to be your client's business. So it'll be their logo. It's not going to show up. Your agency logo would be here when you set this at the agency level, but in the client and the sub account, this is going to be theirs. So it's their business name. This is going to be all of their business information. If you decide to get them set up on their own account, if you have an offer where they need to have an account. If you had a voice AI or reputation manager or something there, you may not necessarily need a reputation manager. You could, with voice AI, you could theoretically just have multiple agents and phone numbers under your own account and having it send emails to the business owners. So you wouldn't need to even create any sub accounts. Yeah. So this is their physical address. You can have an authorized representative for the business, or you would have just various options here for their account. You can just read through these, contact deduplication. So not all of this needs to be configured, but if you have it, and put it in. So here's where you would add the payment information if they were going to be on a SaaS plan, but you would not add your card. This is your client's card. So if you have the SaaS account and they got set up automatically, it'll already all be in here. But if you have the $297 a month account, then it's not automatic. So you have to come in here and set the stuff up manually. And that's the thing too. If you do switch over to SaaS afterwards, you're going to have to manually convert all these accounts over to SaaS accounts. Whereas if you start off with SaaS and you get people signed up with SaaS already, then all of it's already done for you. So this is going to be the business's staff. So notice I'm not in here. So they can add their own people to the company. And here's their various, again, all those permissions, just like you saw in the agency view, they're going to be down here. But there's some additional stuff here. So you have call and voicemail settings. You can go through these. How many seconds do you want the incoming call timeouts to be? Do you want there to be a voicemail recording? What their availability is, their calendar configuration. This is per user, right? Video conferencing. So you might have one sales rep that uses Zoom and another sales rep that doesn't. So you would add those people in here as you see fit. So here's some options. Again, these are all the settings for various things. So this would be settings for opportunities and pipelines versus opportunities and pipelines, which is in the previous menu. So you could have automatically make opportunity owner a follower of the contact or automatically make contact owner a follower of the opportunity. Basically, this just depends on how you're setting up your stuff. You may not use opportunities. It's really just depends on what would work best for you here. So for automation, this was the setting. I think we covered this before. Yeah, because it kept jumping back over here, where you could turn on notifications for emails if there's errors with the workflows. We already looked at that. We had already looked at the calendar settings earlier. It kept coming here and then I kept going back. So we didn't lose track. Conversation AI, we covered this. Knowledge base, we covered this. Voice AI agents, we covered this. Email services. All right. So this is going to be a video in and of itself. But basically, so when you start with HighLevel, you're using their email system, which is this MSG Messenger. You don't want to use that. You would definitely want to add your own dedicated domain. So you would come in here. If you're going to use SMTP, you could use somebody else, but I would definitely just use a dedicated domain here. So you can add a domain, put in your domain, and you go through the wizard for adding MX records and TXT records and stuff to your domain. So once you get your domain in, then you can actually add multiple domains and subdomains. So you might have like mail.yourdomain. So it would be like your first name dot last name at mail.domain or first name dot last name at email.domain or m.domain. You can choose which subdomain gets used or main domain gets used for different types of activities. So if you want to spread these out, say your automations come from info.yourdomain.com versus one-on-one conversations might come directly from you, first name dot last name at rootdomain.com. So it just, again, depends completely on how you want to configure this. Bulk emails, you may want to use like a completely different domain because you could totally roast your domain reputation. You don't want to kill your main domain. So I would suggest like buying a separate domain that's similar to your domain. So if your domain is agency.com, you want to buy myagency.com, goagency.com, bestagency.com, or agencygo.com. You want to buy a bunch of other actual domains and then set 3 subdomains per those domains and then send your bulk emails from those, because you can burn a subdomain and still use the main domain. But that also depends on who you're sending through. Like for instance, Namecheap, if you try to send through subdomains because this happened to me, they can still shut down your main domain and no subdomains will send from that account if you're using them. So it all depends. Again, whole different video. Email can be a beast, but it's all here, right? Again, HighLevel is not a bulk cold email platform. Do not use HighLevel for cold email. It does not have the tools available for cold email. Use a dedicated cold email platform like Instantly, Reach Inbox, something like that. So you have settings here for reply and forward for email services. You have analytics. This one's pretty good. I don't think it's 100% accurate, but it's reasonable enough to get an idea. Risk assessment, keep track of email verifications, bounce classification. What type of bounce did we bounce? You can set automations to do things with those emails too in automations. So based on these statuses, like if an email bounced, you might want to delete it or mark it as not to be used again or tag it or whatever. So you can do things based on this stuff, right? And here you can connect Google Postmaster tools. You can optimize performance. All right. Make sure you land on Gmail inboxes, right? Okay. Phone numbers. So this is another giant beast that can be tamed, but understanding basically there's toll-free numbers and local numbers, and you're going to have to go through registration pretty much for both. You can add phone numbers here. You can just choose one. They change a lot. They're cheap enough, right? And you can choose what you want, local, toll-free. But at the end of the day, you cannot send text messages to people that haven't opted in. You can't send text messages to people that have opted in that's over 90 days old. There's a ton of TCP regulations around phone numbers. You cannot just get a bunch of phone numbers and blast them or you will be shut down very quickly. Calling, again, voice AI is nice because you can add a phone number and you can sell it immediately as a voice AI service because you don't need to go through any of that. So as soon as the number is active, you can turn on call forwarding to that number right away. And the business owner can just type that in and you can set up the voice AI and you can immediately sell them a 24-hour missed call receptionist. And you don't have to go through anything. You don't have to go through A2P, nothing, right? Because you're not using text messaging. Again, that's a better value add. But if you're going to sell to an outbound business where they may have more, maybe they're getting Facebook ad or leads or whatever, or pay-per-click type stuff, that's going to require SMS follow-up or maybe AI appointment booking and stuff through text message, you're going to need to go through the A2P registration. It's not that big of a deal. It takes a couple days. Here's where you can see all of your billing for phone stuff. It is not a small list of things that can be billed. So if you're wondering where my nickel and dime, you can come in here and you can see exactly where the bills come from. And if you're going to be outbound calling, like cold calling, you can cold call businesses all you want. Cold calling consumers is a beast. Certain states have like certain regulations. You can only call so many times per day. It's really, again, there's those types of outbound. Anytime you're dealing with consumers' cell phones, whether it's voice or text, you really need to understand the laws and regulation around it if you're going to deal with selling to consumers. That's why I always recommend selling to businesses. But there's businesses on here that are going to be dealing with consumers. And if they're going to have those types of outbound marketing methods, they're going to need to be aware of that stuff. So here you can start your A2P registration there. This will come in once you finish that. Campaigns will be there as well. You want to definitely register for Shake and Stir. Again, you can look up the stuff you want. This is outside the scope of this. CNAM, this is good too. Can show the business name as caller ID and voice integrity. They don't have this yet. But this is nice because it's like if somebody opted in and it says, say their Facebook lead form says, hey, great, someone's going to call you, right? You want them to answer the phone. So ideally they're waiting for a call. And so you want your business name to come up. Better yet, have them call you, right? Take them to have them be able to click and call in right away. I always recommend letting your leads go as far as they can. Don't ever stop your leads on their lead journey to where you create a gap or you have to turn around and chase them or they have to wait because it's just like people calling, getting a voicemail, they're just going to bounce. Any type of lead journey that you develop where a lead has to stop moving forward and then you have to do something, that's going to be a huge fall off point in your funnel. So just really be careful of that. Messaging analytics, this is all SMS analytics, right? So you have the email analytics on the other page. This is SMS analytics. And this is more advanced settings regarding all of this phone stuff. There's a ton of it in here. Delete older recordings. You would want to do this after a while because they're going to charge you with those calls sitting there because if you have a call recording turned on. Here's where you can turn on and off missed call text back. I don't recommend using missed call text back at all. I recommend voice AI. When you first start your account, you are limited to 100 messages per day, and this does go up over time. But I can tell you now, if you're sending 3,000 text messages a day, you better be making a lot of money because that's not going to be cheap. And you can add call scripts here. If you have appointment setters or somebody and you want them to follow the call script, you can put that in. I don't recommend having those on a screen. I recommend having them on paper. That is a whole different training in and of itself. All right. So the phone system is a beast, but it's a pretty robust system. And the fact that you get it included for the $97 plan is ridiculous. So here's WhatsApp integration. I don't use WhatsApp because in the US, it's just not really used that much, but you can integrate WhatsApp with everything in here. If you're outside the US, you pay $29.99 for your This is a sub account, right? So the agency level, you can change this and you could make a profit off this, right? But it is if you want your client to use WhatsApp to reach out to their people. So custom objects, this is part of the automations. This is really where you are going to use like aliasing type stuff. For example, car object captures key information about a car, such as engine power, top speed, and mileage, right? So this is a little bit deeper in the weeds. It's a newer feature. You're going to know whether you need custom objects or not based on your use case. Most people don't. So most people don't even need companies. Just contacts is pretty much all it is. If you're a business, you're going to have customers, and that's pretty much it. Unless you're a business to business, then you might use this. If you have really advanced automations, you might use custom object. Custom fields is pretty popular. These are default fields come with it. You can scroll through here. You have folders that you can create folders and put fields in, but these fields are associated with every single contact. So if you add a field, you get a single line, multi-line, text box, all this kind of stuff. So for instance, say on a form or a survey, that data that they put in when they're opting in on the funnel goes into one of these fields. So if you want to know, like you're doing leads for solar and it's like, what's your electric bill? That is not a default field. You're going to need to add that here. So you would have like single line, you would, come on, next. You would put it in here. What's the name? You would have it under contact. Maybe you create a group for those things or whatever, right? And then you hit save and it will create that field for all contacts. Every contact will then have that electric bill field. So then when you go to call them or you're on the sales call, you pull up that contact, all the information is going to be there for them. Custom values are essentially aliases. So you can put something in here and wherever you use this anywhere, it could be on a landing page, it could be in a form, it could be in an email. It doesn't matter anywhere in the platform. This is going to resolve to whatever you have here, right? So that's really the power for this. So you say whatever it is, and then the value can be whatever you want it to be. And so if you have a snapshot that you built and you want someone to be able to just plug in, say you have websites for landscapers, you don't want them to have to go into the web developer and build and put in their company name everywhere where it says company name. You can put aliases in, some of them already have them in the template, and they can just come into here and they can just type in they can just go here and type in their business name, or sorry, here in the value, and then it will resolve, right? If that's already in the website or whatever, emails or whatever it is. All right, so lead scoring. This is basically, you can choose all kinds of different types of things that somebody would interact with, right? And whether it's like, whether they've opened emails or they set an appointment or whatever, the contact book in the calendar, and you can add so many different points to it, right? So you can add a rule, you can choose this stuff, whatever, order placed, survey submitted, form submitted, contact type, payment received, email events, and then how many points add or subtract. And then now you can basically, you could go in like your contacts, for example, you could create a custom list that's like all the people with an engagement score of a certain number or whatever certain number. Again, completely customizable to your business, to how you want to handle this, right? But it's a feature that's here where you can essentially put a points level on somebody. Maybe they opened so many emails, or they replied to a text message or whatever. So here's where you can buy a domain itself, right? So the other field was where you would set up your custom domains and stuff for email and whatnot. Here's where you can connect your domains to, there's no domains purchased on this account, obviously, so it's just a demo, but once you have a domain, click purchase domain right in here, then you would come in here and you can connect it to all this stuff, right? So you have funnel, website builder, email, that would take us back to where we were, WordPress, if you're doing hosting for that, the client portal, remember we said that has its own paths, and branded domain for like so you would send them to, if you were myagency.com, they would, like right now, this app, if they're going to log in, they would have to go to app.GoHighLevel and they would log in, but with your branded domain, they would go to app.your branded domain and then log in. So whatever your agency is, and then they would see your icon up here and whatnot. So URL redirects, when you do add a domain, it'll automatically create the www version of it. So if someone types in yourdomain.com or www.yourdomain.com, www is essentially a subdomain. So it's going to automatically redirect it. You don't really have to go in here and do much, but just know that it's there. So integrations, here's where you're going to connect your Google business profile. Very important. Your Google account. Here's where you connect your Facebook account. Very important. If you are running Facebook ads, here's where you're going to connect your Facebook form fields mapping. So you would choose your Facebook page. And if you're running ads on that page, all of the fields in the Facebook form for the lead form, you're going to connect those to more than likely custom fields that you created in HighLevel. So remember that, how much is your electric bill each month? That might be on your Facebook lead form. You would map it right here under Facebook form fields mapping to HighLevel. So then if someone lead comes in and it's a certain value that you want, then you can do whatever you want to do with it. Same thing with TikTok form field matching, LinkedIn form field matching. So you can connect to those forms with each one of these guys. Private integrations, I have never used this. You connect with third party. I'm assuming this is an API thing. I can look in the help docs. Everything you need to know. What are private integrations? Private integration allows you to build powerful custom integrations between your account and any other third-party app. Okay. Find and install relevant app from App Marketplace. Build your own private integration by yourself or with the help of a developer using API. There you go, using APIs. All right. So if you are a guru at this stuff, here you go. Have at it. I am not. So we're going to leave that alone. Conversation providers. So if you were going to use I believe this is where this is at. So like My CRM Sim or Inst8, those are like other SMS platform providers outside of Twilio that where you can send through a cell phone or multiple cell phones. I think that's where it shows up. I could be wrong. Tags. There's lots of places you can add tags, but this is where you can add tags as well. You can search tags here. But here's if you want to bulk delete tags, this is where you would come into your tags manager. Labs. Remember I said in the agency view there was labs, but at the sub-account level is also labs. So here you have this, right? Time zone update. So basically you always want to just turn all these on generally, because usually by the time this stuff shows up here, it's already pretty good dialed in. And this is going to be where you want to go. You're about to enable cancel reschedule. Please confirm that once this lab, if it cannot be disabled. Oh, that's a new one. Okay. All right. So yeah, voice AI, separate during and post call actions. So you'll see Sean Clark put out videos talking about this stuff, and he'll say come into labs and turn it on. Audit log is going to be the same as it was at the agency view, just at the account level. Brand boards, again, same thing, just at the sub account level. Took us right back here to marketing. See, jumped back. And we're getting to the end here. Companies. So this is where you would manage, automatically create companies from contact business names. Yeah, that's cool. So if they have a business name, they filled out or whatever, it creates a company for them. So then if you have new contacts come in, they'll just associate with that business. And here's associations. All right. So that is the overview of all of the stuff. All right. So if you want any help with your HighLevel implementation, you can jump into my GHL Nerds community. The link is in the description. And if you have ideas on any other videos you'd like me to make on HighLevel, just drop a comment below and I'll be sure to check them out. And if you want to learn more on how to sell HighLevel to your customers, watch this video right here.